I'd like to say welcome. I'm Dale. I'm the owner of DLMR Trailer Sales. I've been in business repairing cars and trailers for over 30 years. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I never thought I would be doing trailers until I got married, and I married a horsewoman. So that's how I ended up getting into trailers. Had no thought of selling, repairing, trying to make money doing it, and it's turned out to be a lot of fun. Most of you horse people are good people, believe it or not. So I'm happy to have Big D's ask me to be here, so I want to say thank you. How many of you are do-it-yourselfers? Fix your own stuff, you know, work on your trailer, somewhat, whatever. Okay, well, this is the perfect time to do it because you're all dragging them out right now. So first thing I'm going to tell you, if you've not had your bearings clean and packed and you put about 5,000 miles on a year to 3, and you haven't done it in a couple years, get it done, or you're going to end up having a very expensive problem. So that's the first thing I want to tell you. Second thing is tires. Look at your tires. Look for more cracks in the sidewalls. If you don't see cracks in the sidewalls, look in the tread of the tire before you even use your trailer, guys and ladies, because those our biggest failures that we see at our shop are 1, tire failure, 2, brake failure, 3, everybody has lights out. And believe it or not, majority of your light failures will not be from a bad bulb. It's 90% of the time a bad ground to the light bulb. It's very rarely a bulb. So if you look at your light and it's not working, you can try changing the bulb, but very rarely that's the problem. It's always a bad ground. And the way the system works is they don't run an individual wire to that light for a ground. They use the body and a little screw to make the ground. And that screw gets rusty or the connector gets rusty, and it won't make a good ground. I didn't know what you guys wanted to do or what you're expecting. I do a safety seminar on horse trailer safety, and I can answer any questions you want about towing or stuff. When you first start out to hook up your trailer, obviously you're going to back up and you're going to put your coupler on. And everybody knows about their ball mount on the truck with the pin. Make sure the pin's in. Make sure the ball is nice and tight on the bracket that you hook to. Next thing is you crank it down. I'll give you a little tip. If your jack's really hard to crank down and you've been spraying penetrating oil on the top of the jack and nothing's working, get a little drill. And on the back side of the jack, just drill a little hole very high up, as high as you can on that tube, and get a hole in there. Then take your penetrating oil, spray it inside that tube. There's a threaded rod and it gets all rusty and it's real hard to crank. So if you spray it inside that tube, you'll get that rod, threaded rod lubed up, and your jack will work a lot better. So that's a little tip that you can do at home. So you get a jack down and you get it on the ball. A lot of trailers, horse trailers, have what I call the clamshell. It squeezes together and the collar slides over the top. Those are really good systems, and they're very durable. Believe it or not, more durable than the ball mounts that have the little lever that you pull up. But the critical thing with that clamshell ball mount, a lot of times you'll notice, man, I'm kicking that thing trying to get it closed. It's tight. It doesn't want to close. Well, what happens is where it pivots, there's a little pin in there, and it gets rusty. And no one has this. Or they do, it's too late to spray on there because now it's frozen, and you could spray all you want. You're never going to free it up again. Get your husband, friend, your auto repair shop, take a torch, heat it up, work it up free, and spray it. I will tell you, this is your trailer's best friend. WD-40, PB Blaster, any spray-on lubricant. This is your best friend. Put this in where you put your brush box, where you got your brushes, your hoof polish, or whatever, and you ain't got nothing to do, and you're standing around waiting, start spraying. I mean, spray your hinges, your door latches. A lot of people, they slam their door, and it doesn't slam real good. They're always pulling the handle, they're having problems. It's the only reason it's not working right, it needs lubricant. If you take and open up the door and pull the handle back and spray this inside where that pin is, and go click, 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 slam the door, you're gonna go, are you kidding me? That is real common with the doors. Hinges. No one sprays their hinges. The hinges get frozen, you're forcing it, you're bending the door, you're bending the hinges. Now you don't have a good seal. Spray, spray, spray. Who cares if you get a little bit on your panel? Hey, my hinge works, my door works, my handles work. Spray. That's a big thing with horse trailers. So now you got the coupler and you got that freed up now, it's working good, it's on. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna hook your safety chains up. Everybody's got these, okay? Believe it or not, see this chain and you have this S hook? Is that legal? It's illegal. If you have a hook on your trailer and it does not have a clasp on it, it's illegal. You can't not travel without a clasp on your hook. So if you've got hooks and the little clasp is broken, it's dangling, and it hooks on, well, let me tell you, in the state of Ohio, they're not as vicious as PA, but the state of Ohio is coming, people. And I know this for a fact. I am a Hallmark dealer. I repaired 3 trailers for the state of Ohio Attorney General's office. All 3 trailers were acquired to go around and train all the state highway patrols on trailer laws. The reason they're doing it is Pennsylvania had complained to the federal government that the state of Ohio is not enforcing laws, and the federal government came to the state of Ohio and said, either you start mandating the laws or we're taking the road money away from you. That's why we have e-check, believe it or not. They did the same thing to the state of Ohio. Either you do e-check or we're not giving you federal money for roads. So the state of Ohio will begin to start pulling you over and doing safety checks. You don't have this, you just got a ticket. So make sure your clasps are working good. Another thing, how many people have their safety chains laying on the road or they're almost touching? Okay, you know the trick to that? Just take your chain, put a couple of twists on it to make it shorter and hook it up. You want to have at least 3 inches away from the road is an average thought. Okay, if it becomes too tight, you're just barely getting it to hook onto your hook, you're too tight. Loosen it up. All right. Also, it is law. The safety chains have to be crisscrossed. That is law. If you do not crisscross your chains and you're pulled over, you will get ticketed. They have to be crisscrossed. And the only reason they crisscross them is if the ball should come off, it will land in the saddle of the chains and prevent it from digging into the ground. That's why they want them crisscrossed. Okay? So now we got the safety chains hooked up. Next thing we got to hook up is our breakaway switch. How many people check these? Okay? Well, all that's inside of this breakaway switch is a little piece of spring wire. And what happens is this little piece of plastic keeps that spring wire apart. Well, this is not very watertight. So this gets a ton of water inside. You've never pulled this, okay, to check your brakes. So now when it does have to be used, and God forbid it ever does have to be used, this isn't going to work. So if your trailer carries some hook and you got your horses in there and you see it going by your truck, it ain't going to stop until it hits something hard and comes to a sudden stop. That's why this is in there. So if it does come disconnected from your truck, it will come to a stop. So the way you check this is, you got it hooked up, you got your 7-wire, you don't have to have your 7-wire plug plugged in. Pull this, jump in your truck and try to move forward. If you feel the brakes lock up, and they should be locked up. Not, oh, you feel it grabbing, no. Should be locked up. If it's not, the system's not functioning. 2 main failures. This switch is bad, or this battery's bad. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you've got a horse trailer and you've not put a new battery in 3 years, I guarantee your battery's no good. These fail, burn out within the average of 2 to 3 years. The older horse trailers have a plastic box. This thing's set in, and this battery does not get any voltage to it. Most of the trailer manufacturers now are installing this style box. So when you're plugged in, it tells you, hey, it's charging. You're putting juice to this, you're charging the system up. When you want to test it, push the little button right here. This one is brand new in the box. What's it say? Recharge. Okay, so these are nice, and check that, because if you get pulled over in a random safety check, that state trooper will pull this and will say, move forward. and you move forward and it ain't stopping, you just got a ticket. Okay? So that's what you do there. Next thing, 7-wire plug. Okay? Everybody's got one. How many of them got them with duct tape on them, black tape, they're bent, they're cared? You need to look at your plug cord and look at the inside of this. There again. Spray it. The more you put in there, less corrosion. If you look in there and you see white and green, the good chances you're not getting a good connection. Okay? So spray this up. Keep it lubricated. Spray inside the socket of your truck. Because all winter you drove that truck, you've never pushed this in. You haven't been cleaning the terminals. That socket has got corrosion. Guarantee it. Spray them. They have this product out there. It's called lithium grease. Buy that product at any electrical store. We sell it in little tubes. Squirt it in there. Keep it lubricated. You do that, you will not have issues with these. But most people, unhooked, drop it in the mud, come back, oh, bang it. That's what happens to most of them. And this is really nice because usually when you buy them, the better trailer manufacturers buy these already made. The cheaper guys, they put these plastic ones on. And if you ruin this, this is what's going on. Because you're not going to buy this whole molded cord. This cord is about $31. And a lot of the gooseneck trailers, where the boxes this is junction to, you're not going to get to it unless you tear the wall apart. So it gets cut off, then it's, you know, it's done well, but still, it's a little more expensive than just putting this on, okay? After you've checked the breakaway switch, I've checked my breakaway battery, I got my safety chains hooked up, I've got my jack up, now I'm going to check my lights, right? How do most people check their turn signals? Do you turn the turn signal on and walk to the back and go, this one's flashing, go up to the front, turn to left, walk on back, this one's flashing. By the time you're checking the lights, you're tired, you don't want to go ride. So all you have to do is hit your hazard switch. Walk in the back, and if both of them are flashing, you've got turn signals and you've got brakes. They work off the same circuit. So just turn your hazards on, walk back, boom, they're both flashing. I'm going to have brake lights and I'm going to have stop lights and turn signals. You're done there, put your headlight on, look at all your marker lights. If you want to do due diligence, walk all the way around and check, okay? I got a lot of people that have this issue. How many are Ford owners here? Ford pickup trucks, okay? How many of you have newer ones, like say 2008 and newer, okay? When you first got your truck and you tried your inside lights, did they work? Okay, what Ford has done, and they're smart, Ford is one of the most trailer-friendly manufacturers on the market, okay? Ford has it designed, the lights inside the trailer, your auxiliary lights, your low lights, will not work unless the truck's running, okay? If you acquire the truck with the tow package, and the dealer did not install the relay setup, it doesn't come from the factory that way. It's either in the glove box or the dealer put it in for you. But it's in the glove box. If you buy a Ford or a GM and you have a tow package, make sure you're getting your trailer accessories from the dealer. There are some dealers, they take them out of the glove box. You buy the truck, you go to a guy like me, well, you need your plug and your relay setup. It should be in your glove box. Well, I don't have it. They go back to the dealer and say, I want it. Oh, it doesn't come with the truck. Go to parts and you got to buy it for a tune of 140 bucks from Ford. Okay? It comes with the truck standard. Don't let them fool you. It comes with the tow package. Those components come and you have to put it in or say, I want that installed. And they should do it for you for free. GM and Dodge, you leave the inside lights off and you go on a nice 5-hour trail ride and you come back, you load up, click, click, click. My battery's dead. Oh, booger. Everybody's gone. I got my cell phone. Hello, dear. Can you jump start me? Ask me how many times I've done that. Twice. Okay? Because GM and Ford, that power auxiliary power is on all the time. And it will kill your battery. Okay? So now we got the lights inside working. We know that's good. It's nothing wrong with the truck. And now I want to check my brake box, okay? But before you do that, how many people check their tire pressures every time they go trail riding? You do. And how much air do you put in your tires? Okay, so you're not running what it says on the side of the trailer. And you're not running what it says on the side of the tire.
Well, if I inflate them to what it says inside the tire, it's kind of stiff and bouncy.
And you'll blow tires. Believe it or not, the way the trailer manufacturers, by federal law, they design and buy an axle, and the axle says it's rated, most bumper pulls are 3,500 pound axles. They have to match the tires, 2 tires, combined carrying weight has to be 3,500 pounds for that one axle. So all 4 tires together are at 7,000 pounds, what your trailer's rated to haul, including the weight of the trailer. And people read the side of the tire, and it says maximum pressure is 50 PSI. You set those at maximum pressure and put 1 horse in, and you go down the road, you're gonna overheat the tire, because the tire actually becomes like a round ball, and you're riding in the center of the tread too much, and it gets hot. That is 90% of the failure of trailer tires exploding. Everybody runs them to the maximum air pressure. What we always recommend in our service department, I recommend to you, start out with 10 pounds below what the manufacturer says. And let's say you normally only carry your horse, and it's a local trail ride. When you drive 15 miles and you get out, as soon as you get out, walk up to that tire, put your hand on the center of that tire and see if it has any hot spots across the tread. So this is my tire, round this way, and I feel it, and it feels warm all the way across, about the same temperature. You're running a good air pressure. If you get to where the center of that tire feels hot, you need to lower the air pressure. If the outer edges seem too hot, not the center, raise it a little bit. But let's say now I'm gonna take a friend and we're gonna put 2 horses in, and now I'm gonna put a bunch of hay in the front and supplies, because we're gonna camp for the weekend, and you're gonna drive 60, 70 miles, you better raise your air pressure up, because now they're gonna get too hot because it's too low of air pressure. So you have to adjust the air pressure in your tires accordingly to the payload of what you put in. And most failures are from that. And if you've ever blown a trailer on a tire on a horse trailer, you're having a fender fixed too, because it tears them up. So check that. And there again, like I said, dry rot, that kills tires too. And if you want to save your tires and you keep them outside, go to some type of camping supply for trailer tire covers. They make them. And you just slip right over the top of the trailer, and it'll save you, give you some more time. Because tires are not cheap anymore. Believe it or not, there is not a US made tire for trailers in the United States. They all come from China, including Goodyear. The last company just left the country, called Carlisle. They were the only American-made tire left. And they just opened a plant in China, and there's no more American-made trailer tires. Nobody is made in America anymore. So there are good trailer tires, bad trailer tires. When you go to acquire them, talk to whoever you deal with, and research trailer tires, because they are online and there's a lot of bad ones out there. So research them. I had a lady ask me, we sold some tires, she wanted them balanced. You can balance them. Every one of your horse trailers that you will buy, the tires are not balanced. There really isn't a need. But if you want them balanced, you can go ahead and do it. After you've done that and you're hooked up, the lights work, your breakaway system works, your chains are good, your plug's good, your auxiliary interior lights are working good. Everything's good, so now we're ready to go trail riding, okay? So you go out and you have fun. You didn't clean and pack your bearings, and then all of a sudden you start burning up a bearing. If you ever have a wheel get loose and it's not the wheel itself and it has a funny odor, I'm going to tell you, it's like those little red lights in your car on your dashboard. You know how those come on, those red lights come on? You're supposed to pull off to the side of the road and stop immediately, but everybody says, well, I can get to the gas station and keep going, and the next thing you know, it cost them $800 more because they didn't stop. Well, that's what will happen to a horse trailer. If you burn up a bearing, the spindles that the this is a drum, and the spindle that this drum mounts onto is not replaceable. You have to buy a whole new axle. Unfortunately, the axles on all the trailers pretty much now are not spring axles, they're torsion tube, which are very expensive. Right now it'll cost you about $890 for one axle, just for the axle. You ruin the spindle, you're done. Dexter Manufacturer, who is an axle company, and that's one of the best manufacturers in the industry, they have just offered a replacement arm assembly. You're not going to see them on your trailer. They're too expensive. Manufacturers are not going to do that just because they're, oh, it's a good idea. If you might request it, they might do it for you. So, stop if you have an issue. If you're hearing noise out of those wheels, I'm telling you right now, save yourself money, don't push it. Tow trucks can flatbed a lot of the bumper pull trailers. The gooseneck trailers, you need to call a roadside assistance guy and have them come out, but I'll give you a hint. Let's say you can't get a hold of somebody. The independent suspension I told you about, called torsion tube, you can get away with taking that tire off and driving it with only 3 tires on the trailer to get to where you're going. And if it's a spring suspension, and if you take the tire off, you'll see a piece that looks like a half of a circle. That's a spring. The other piece, you won't see any of that. That's a torsion tube. You take the wheel off and you can get to where you're going. I'm not saying drive 500 miles. Get to where you can go somewhere. Get off the freeway, service station, and get it looked at. But that wheel will not hit the ground. Okay? It will stay off the ground and you can get to where you got to go. So if you end up in a bind and you do have a torsion tube, and if you've got a trailer that's built in 2000 and above, I guarantee it's torsion tube. You can get away with doing that. So that's a good trick to get off the road without damaging the component. So that way you can get away with that. There's another nice little thing is, how many people carry the wheel lifts to change that tire? How am I going to get it off my trailer? How many people have the wedge block? One. Anybody? Okay. Let's say you're on the side of the road and you don't have a wedge block. You go to get your little bottle jack out of your pickup truck and you realize it won't fit under. How am I going to get the trailer up off the ground to get that tire off to put my spare on? Hopefully you're near a woods. Go up into a woods, find yourself a block of wood or something, put it behind the tire that in front, or whichever tire it is, and you want to back up on that block of wood to get that wheel off the ground. You don't have to carry a block, but it's nice to have someone cut you a 4x4 on a wedge, throw it in your tack room so you have a block to drive up. Or you can spend, I got them on sale for like $49, but me, I'm cheap, I buy a block of wood and cut it off. So you want to carry that block of wood just in case you do get a flat. Because I love the people that, first of all, never try to take their spare tire off, and when they do need it, the bolt is so rusty it won't come off. So you need to double check your nut for your spare tire, which most people don't. Check the air pressure, most people don't. So you need to check those things before you go off at the beginning of the season. Make sure it's got air. And make sure you have your little wooden block or you're not going to change your tire. So that's another thing we had got checked off our list. So now we're ready to go trail riding again, right? Well, when's the last time you pulled the mats out of your floor? Cleaned your floor? Anybody? Everybody do it last year? We got one gentleman. Anybody else? Pull the mats out. How many people have aluminum trailers? Okay. How many people have steel trailers? Okay. These are the 3 most typical floors that are in a trailer. This is an all aluminum floor that you see in most aluminum trailers. This is what you see in most steel trailers. And this is what they call rumbar, and it's actually an engineered rubber plastic floorboard. This you don't see standard. It's usually an option through any manufacturer. They can get put in. Out of these 3 floors, which these are the most common, which one do you think we replace, this, this, or this, 3 to 4 times a year at our shop? I mean, put a whole new floor in. You think it's the aluminum, the wood, or this plastic composite? Come on. Wood, aluminum. We do 4 a year in the tune of an average of $1,800 to $2,000 depending on the size of the trailer. And we don't cut the old floor out. What we end up doing is we acid wash the floor, scrub it really good, dry it thoroughly, cut our new aluminum to fit in the trailer, and then in every 4-inch centers all throughout we drill holes in the new aluminum, and you sit there and weld all day each one of those holes. And the reason is you didn't pull your mats out. You can go to shows, the big quarter horse congress, pretty much any place that there's a lot of horse trailers for sale, and especially if there was a rainstorm or rained the past couple of days, open up that rear horse area, lift up that mat, and I guarantee it will be soaking wet in rainwater. Okay? That's what happens with your horse's urine. It sits underneath, you don't pull the mats, and that urine just eats through that aluminum, and it's riddled with holes. Has anybody ever seen a horse's hoof go through a floor? I have. Coming back from the Outer Banks with me and my wife. We were coming back from our 2 weeks vacation, and we thought it was paint. You know how paint hits the road? You see, it wasn't. We crested the hill, and there was a gentleman on the side of the road with this horse trailer, and I could not believe how much blood was out. My wife wanted to stop, and I'm going, there's no point, that horse is done. And it happens more than 14 times a year. Horses go through floors because you did not pull your mats out. So you need to pull the mats out, clean them, the floors thoroughly, and reinstall the mats twice a year. If you're a big time user, 3 times a year. If you have a new aluminum horse trailer, read your warranty. It is in the warranty that that trailer must be acid washed twice a year. That is upon the average manufacturer, and it's in there. Read your warranty. And if you do it yourself, which is illegal, you cannot acid wash at home. It's against the EPA regulations. So let's say you did do it yourself, you better save the receipts for your acid wash. Because if you do have a floor issue, it's still under warranty, you're out of luck. So floors are a big thing. The reason the wood does not rot out, one, there's gaps. So when the horse urinates, it goes down on the ground. Plus, when you're driving down the road, the air's up turbulating and drying out underneath the floor. That's why these do not rot out. I've done one of these in my whole career. One. The rumbar floor, this is a neat floor. It's really good. Depends on whose you buy. There's about 3 manufacturers of this. This is used by a manufacturer I buy from. I won't use it no more. It's too slippery. Horse can't get a bite. Still got to put mats on the top of it. And it's very heavy. I mean, this is a piece of wood, and if you feel the difference, big difference in there, okay? Problem is, you would think that this is plastic rubber, it would be as strong as this board. They actually have to put floor joists every foot if they're going to put this floor in. So you just add more weight into your trailer. So this floor I don't really recommend, to be honest with you. If it was up to me, I would prefer a wooden floor, or, I'm not going to say who it is, I'm not here to sell trailers. There's a manufacturer that has an aluminum floor planked, but it's gapped just like the wood is. So if the horse urinates, goes down on the ground, you're driving, it turbulates and dries off. So that's a good floor to do. The only thing I don't like about that manufacturer, and I'm totally against this on floors, but this is what this manufacturer does, they bedline the aluminum. If you go look at my white pickup truck, I have a bedliner pickup. And once this is coated, I cannot visually see how this floor is doing. So if urine gets underneath there and burned a hole through this, I can't see it unless I'm going around and I'm hammering, trying to find a weak spot. In that pickup truck, I have a bed liner. It finally ripped off. I never knew that it was rusting underneath that bed liner. That's why I've left it, because it's a perfect example of why you don't want to put, in my opinion, a permanent coating on a floor, because you want to see it. Then if you got to repair it, it just became a bigger issue. So now we've got our mats out, we looked at the floor, it's good, we've pressure washed it, we put it all back together, now we're ready to go ride. got your bearings checked, got everything done, you're good to go. But let's say we don't have a bumper pull. Being I just said the federal government is forcing the state of Ohio to comply with laws. That trailer sitting out there hooked up to my truck. Gross, what the maximum capability is 13,000 pounds. That's how much I can put in, including the weight of the trailer, is 13,000 pounds. My truck is rated to carry, the gross GVWR, what the sticker says, is 7,000 pounds. Add those two together, I'm at 20,000 pounds. I'm 6,000 pounds away from having to have a CDL license. If I had a Ford F-350, okay, I'm 3,000 pounds away from having to have a CDL. If I have a Ford F-450, I have to have a CDL. I can't pull that little trailer. It's illegal. What everybody's got to start paying attention to is the laws and regulations, because the state is going to start coming down heavy. So when you've got a trailer, if you've got a bigger LQ, look at what the sticker is on that LQ. If on that horse trailer, take the gross GVWR and look at the door you're using and look at the gross GVWR and add them together. If you're at 26,000 pounds, you must have a CDL license. Right now, I have that law. It's been hanging in my office and in my showroom ever since I've been selling trailers. Do I point that out? No. But it's there for the consumer to look at. Now I am starting to tell people. I've lost 3 sales because I told people and they were over CDL. They had to have it. So be paying attention of those items, okay? Your truck, obviously, I have a lot of people ask me what my truck can pull. They come in, and there's a lot of guys out there that could care what your truck can pull. They just have a $30,000 horse trailer, and they want to sell it to you. Yeah, your truck will handle it. Hook it up, go. Thank you very much. Now you've owned the trailer, and guess what? It ain't handling it. I got issues. So the next thing you know, let's say it's a bumper pull. Well, you need to buy a weight distribution hitch. That's $500 for a real good one. Now you need to hook it up. Husband's not around. You're lifting that ball mount that weighs 45 pounds. Then you got to hook up the chains and the bars. That's a lot of work. So before you acquire a trailer, look at your owner's manual. Don't trust anybody to tell you that truck's going to haul it. It's right in the owner's manual, tells you what the capabilities are of that vehicle. I recommend don't take it to the limit, because everybody overloads their horse trailer. By the time you put 2 horses in, and like I say, we're going to go for a weekend trip, you load it down. You need to give yourself some room, because you're going to overload it. Everybody doesn't comprehend how much that cooler full of meat weighs with ice, the cooler full of popfuls of ice. I've got my water buckets for my horse. Oh, and I better take some water from home because I want to water them on the road. I've got 2 bales of hay from my barn. I've got grain. Oh, I got my cooking utensils. I took my gas stove. I took, all my clothes. I better take my horse blankets because they might get cold. And how do I know this? Because I'm married to a woman that does a lot of trail riding. And her trailer is jam-packed with stuff. And I weighed her. She was 115 pounds over with 2 horses in it on a 2-horse gooseneck trailer. You got to get rid of weight, Barb. I'm not going to get rid of that. I need this stuff. So what she do? She put it in the cab of the truck. Well, I said, you still got too much weight in here. No, we're fine. The trailer's, that's at least 200 pounds. She's overloaded, okay? So give yourself some room when you go to do that, okay? Don't pack it to the gills, because that's how accidents happen. How many people know how to adjust their trailer brakes? You know that little box in the truck? I hope everybody's got one. How many people know how to adjust that? How often do you adjust that trailer brake? Do you just plug in, let's go, we're good to go? Or do you actually play with it and dial it in? I'm going to tell you right now, these are the brakes on your horse trailer. And this is on 99% of them, okay? This is it, okay? And what this is, an electronic magnet. And when you hit your brake, this gets magnetized, and that runs on the smooth part of the drum. And that's what makes the brakes turn on, okay? If you look, there's no rivets, no screws, nothing holding these on. This is all glued, okay? These are designed to assist you to stop. They're not designed to make you stop. These are an assist. What most people do is they hit the brake and you feel the trailer go, cuckoo. You're gonna end up tearing these shoes off. I buy these by the hundreds every year. We replace these average every 3-horse trailer comes into our shop. And if you grab right here at the bottom, first thing is pull the drum off. Wow, it's got a lot of lining. This looks good. Take your fingernail and put it right here and pull, it'll snap right off. What happens is this glue gives up, and when it tears off, it locks the brakes. Then you're stuck. That's when you're gonna get it up off the air, take the tire off, and drive to the nearest repair facility, okay? But these things also get very rusty. And what happens, the rust gets in between this lining and the steel, and it rusts and expands, and they just fall off. These need to be checked at least every couple of years. Now, if you leave that trailer set for 3 years because horse got ill, something happened, you couldn't do it, you're gonna go trail riding, you better check these because most likely the rust got behind them. These are what they call 10-inch brakes. On the smaller trailers, this is the standard size. They're about $70 for the part. Believe it or not, if you buy just the brake shoe and reuse all these pieces, this is only $7 cheaper to buy just the shoes. And it's per wheel. They don't sell them in sets like they do for cars. All right, and then there's about $40 to $50 to put them on. They're bolted on, but these are so rusty, you can never unbolt them. You cut them off with the torch. And then these wires, it's not rocket science, real easy. It doesn't matter which one you hook up. The magnet still works the same way. It doesn't reverse polarity. So this, you need to adjust your trailer brakes. When do I adjust my trailer brakes? Every time you get in the trailer. Weather condition. My trailer sat. Didn't use it for the whole winter. Well, that brake shoe is rusty as heck inside that drum. So when you first hit the brakes, boom, it grabs real good. Once you knock the rust off, now it's not as grabby. Well, I need to adjust up the brake power a little bit more. The rule of thumb is get in the trailer on asphalt, not gravel. Have the payload that you're going to haul about 5 miles an hour. You're coasting. The little button on the box, slide it over, and you want to feel the trailer gradually slowing you down. If you don't feel it, raise it up a little bit. You do not want the trailer to stop you. It's not what it's designed to do. It's an assist. Matter of fact, if you put too much brake in it and you get in a panic stop, you might jackknife. People think it's the opposite way. It is not. If you take a CDL course because you have to, you'll learn that when you take the class. Too much rear brake will cause you to jackknife. So that's why it's critical not to have so much rear brake on these. So now I drop off my friend's horse, say I'm going riding. I got to my friend's house, loaded her horse on. I just added 1,500 pounds more to my brakes. I need to adjust my brake box again. So get out on the road in front of their house, adjust it in. You're going to raise the power because you have more payload. Then you get to where you're going, you drop her off. I got to drop it back down. Those little numbers that you see, if you have the numbers, that is not a true tell set that, oh, I know if I have one horse, I set it at 3. No, that gives you in the range of where you want to be, and then you adjust it in. Okay, so it's real critical that you make sure that you do that, or you'll end up buying yourself brake shoes. Okay, I give you another tip. Season's over, last trail ride of the year. I'm done. Okay, I'm going to put the horse trailer away. Do you just take it, park it, unhook it, and walk away? No. What you do is, believe it or not, that grease that I'm talking about, your wheel bearing grease, when you're cruising down the road, it actually turns into an oil, a real thick oil. And when you get to where you're going at home and you're going to park it for the season, and you park it, all that oil dripped off the top of the bearings. So the bearing now is exposed. It doesn't have anything protecting it from moisture. Don't unhook. Wait an hour and a half, 2 hours. Let that grease get back to real thickness, then move the trailer. Back it up and forth, around. Get the bearing coated with grease again, then unhook it and park it. Now you've put a good bearing grease all over the bearing, and it'll less chances of it rusting and going bad on you. Because that's what our most trailer failure is for wheel bearings, is not overloading, not lack of packing, it's they rust because of condensation. And the bearings get little pits and they just disintegrate. Okay? So we've done all that. So we're good to go, right? The only thing we did is when we pulled the mats, we looked at the floor, we didn't look underneath. This is a cross member from a lady's horse trailer, one of 5. Okay? She ran over a boulder. She had no clue. She brought it in for a trailer safety. We put it up in the air. Floor was buckling inward, and all of those were bent like this. Called her up. She came and looked, and she goes, you know, last year I ran over a boulder, and I didn't even think to look underneath my trailer. We had to cut every one of these out. Okay? Now, this has lost its integrity as far as strength. If I put this and jumped up and down, I'd bend this thing over, because this is aluminum. And the way they're manufactured, this is what gives us strength. Once you do this to it, the strength is gone. Okay? So you want to look underneath and make sure those aren't bent, there's no cracks, or you got these underneath your trailer. Okay? Believe it or not, if I bend this as bad as this, I'd put my horse on top of this any day before I'd even think about putting my horse on that. Because this has a memory. Aluminum has no memory. Okay? So make sure. Also, what I want you to tell you is there's no such thing as an all aluminum horse trailer. Okay? And what happens, especially if you're a 4-season user, where the aluminum is on a horse trailer, they use steel up against the aluminum. Years ago, manufacturers did due diligence and they put a membrane between these two pieces to slow down corrosion. Because rust has a fancy name for aluminum, it's called oxidization. That's just aluminum rust. What happens is these two components are together, the aluminum starts to oxidize, and it hydraulics and forces itself apart and actually breaks the aluminum right off. And I replace subframes on horse trailers at least 2 to 3 a year because of that issue. So you need to look at that stuff too. So I know I kind of blew through this kind of for you. We do have a website. If you go to YouTube and look for trailer safety, I have a video that I've done for a lot of customers in our area. We had like over 70 people and I did a video on it. You can go there and look. It's a little outdated. Some of the wiring that we had is different than what they have now. It's a lot better. And then I have another website. It's called Horse Trailer Talk. It's off of YouTube. And if you have questions, you can email us and we'll answer them on Horse Trailer Talk. And does anybody have any questions?
What would a safety inspection run roughly?
The average repair shop, anywhere from 225 to 180. We charge $199. That includes we have a big checklist that we go through the whole trailer. It's cleaning and packing the bearings, lubricating all the hinges, checking all the lights, checking the breakaway, the floor. The very first thing we do to any trailer that comes into our shop is we go to the frame. If we find any damage or anything to the frame, we don't go any further. We contact you and let you know and see what you want to do. Some of them we condemn. There have been several trailers that come in and they're gone. There is one manufacturer that it's bad. So if it has an S and a D in it, in their older ones, double check them. I condemn more of those than anything else. And I will tell you, I had a lady inside ask me this morning, if you're going to scrap a horse trailer, do somebody a favor, cut the floor out of it. cut it out. We scrapped a horse trailer in Chardon at a scrap yard, and 7 days later, a young lady brought it into us. She bought it, and it was no good. So from there on out, when we scrap a trailer, we remove the floors. So it's not worth fixing once you cut the floors out of them. So yeah, but if you have a good auto repair mechanic that you really trust, they should be able to do this stuff. They really should. I mean, any other questions?
Where are you located?
I am located in Chardon, Ohio on State Route 322, about 800 feet west of 44. I've been there 17 years now at that location. We were in Bainbridge for 16 years. I had 2 locations at one time. Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys listening to me. Thank you.